The Locked On Podcast Network presents the NBA Big 3 in 30. The 3 biggest stories in the NBA from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 30 minutes. The NBA Big 3 in 30 starts now with the biggest stories in the NBA.
The Oklahoma City Thunder survive one of the best regular season games you're ever gonna want.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast.
The Thunder in this game, I was going to start with the ring night stuff, but honestly, the basketball game outshined what was a historic event beforehand. We'll get to that coming up. But first and foremost, you're never going to see a regular season game that has this level of drama, this level of competitiveness, physicality, intensity, defense, stakes, double overtime. In the end, the Thunder win 125-124 in double OT. Whether you're only into basketball for the soap opera aspect of things, which some of you are, whether you're only into basketball because you want to see the greatest of the greats knock down improbable shots and just go to work, you saw some of that tonight. If you love basketball because you love the strategy and the chess match, you saw a lot of that tonight. If you love basketball because you love defense, you saw plenty of it. These are two of the best teams in the NBA defensively. They should finish the year 1-2 defensively. Teams cannot do what these teams are capable of. Teams can't match their defensive versatility. They can't match their athleticism. They cannot match their length. They cannot match their ability to play on a string and create havoc on opposing offenses. And they can't do it every single night the way that I believe that Houston can, as they showed a year ago, and Oklahoma City can, as they showed a year ago. These should be 1 and 2 in the Western Conference win total and as a team defense, because I trust them to show up every single night, and that defense carries you a long way. That defense gives you such a big margin for error. You look at tonight, for as frustrated as you were with Oklahoma City's offense for the vast majority, if not the entirety of tonight's game, the reason that they won was because their defense kept them in it. They kept them within striking distance. Houston tried to do a good job of keeping the Thunder at about a 5-6 point arm's length distance for the majority of this contest, but it wasn't enough in the end for Houston to get this win. But each side has to feel great coming out of this game, because each side lived up perfectly to the identities of their rosters, especially given the circumstances. No Fred VanVleet all year for Houston. They have to work around that all year. For the Thunder, J-Dub not in this game. Of course, he's going to be back soon, so he'll implement something different to this Thunder team, but the bones of it stays the same. When you see what Houston and the Thunder did tonight, it was awesome to watch. The Thunder, forced bad shots for Houston's offense. Houston did it to them as well. Each offense could not get to their spots. They could not get to where they wanted to go and could not get into a rhythm. The few open looks that they did get, the few shots that you don't say, that's a terrible shot. It was shots that you live with. It's just okay, well, if you have to go up in a Alpe 3, you do it. And Alpe, to his credit, knocked them down. If you have to give up an Amen Thompson 3, you do it. Okay, if we shut down Shea's drive and they have to kick it out to Lou or to Kaysen, you let them shoot. But those were the only shots where you would grade it out as a high-quality look in the sense of the defense. And that's a testament to both these two teams. Deflections after deflections, shot clock violations, backcourt violations, turnovers. I mean, look at how these two teams shot tonight. The Thunder and Rockets both shot 44% from the floor. The Thunder shot 25% from 3. Houston only shot 28% from 3. The Thunder shot 80% at the free throw line. Houston shot 87%. And this is what I mean by staying true to their identity. Houston just obliterates Oklahoma City in the rebounding category, 72-50. However, Oklahoma City forces 21 turnovers, and they only give it away 11 times, which is high for where the Thunder are typically at. But it's still a 10-turnover gap there. They found the success in what's been true to their style, and this game played out wonderfully if you're just watching this as a basketball fan. OKC dominates fast break points, 16-2. Houston dominates second chance points, 24-14. The Thunder actually win points in the paint, 50-44, but it was a bar fight to get there. This game had everything. And if you're into the chess match, the reason why you feel so confident in both these teams moving forward, the reason why you think that this could be a Western Conference preview is because of what the Rockets did and how the Thunder matched them. Like the Rockets' size, let them dominate inside on the glass, let them get to those second chance opportunities. And it really had the Thunder in fits because they blended their size with off of those rebounds, having hit-ahead passes, getting into transition or semi-transition chances, and not letting the Thunder get into their bread and butter of playing half-court defense and getting set up into their shell. And so both the size and speed of guys like Amon getting downhill in a hurry like that caused some problems for Oklahoma City. The Thunder vastly missed Jalen Williams' size to match up with, especially that Rockets starting lineup. So the Thunder pivoted and they went to Brooks Barnhizer in the first quarter and had Brooks and Caruso, I should say, defending Şengün and KD. When the Rockets went to Reed Sheppard, OKC pivoted and they became just unselfish of letting whomever had the opportunity to go attack him do that. I mean, they did not rely on a single player to hunt that mismatch. They let the ball dictate where it needed to go hunt Reed Sheppard and attack him in a big way. The Thunder shooting woes, it's going to be hard to overcome against teams who can pack the paint as good as Houston can, who can deter drivers, who can play the gaps, who can use their length to disrupt kickouts. Like that's going to be hard to overcome. But one way that the Thunder can overcome that in general is by letting Chet Holmgren play the 5. So the Thunder pivot to letting Chet Holmgren play the 5, going smaller out of halftime, taking Isaiah Hartenstein off the court. And that's been a mechanism that the Thunder have used against Chris Finch, against Willie Green in the playoffs, whenever the Pelicans and the Timberwolves had the size advantage. And what did those two coaches do? Those two coaches let it happen. They tried to match small ball with small ball. But guess what? Nobody can play as good of small ball as Oklahoma City can. So it was detrimental to their cause of trying to win that game. What did Ime do, though? Ime stays big. And even in the face of a 9-2 Thunder run and the flurry of activity from Oklahoma City with Chet playing the 5 to trim down that Rockets lead, Ime doesn't blink. The Rockets stay true to who they are. They stayed big. They survived those minutes to have the lead back once OKC said, okay, we've got to go back big. Our rotational patterns at a halftime suggest that Caruso needs to be off the floor here. They're going to go big because it's one of their only options here whenever you have such a depleted rotation, because you have Jada out, because you have Kenrich out, because you have Topic out, and of course you don't have Sorber all year, and Isaiah Joe's out as well. So Ime not trying to fight fire with fire, resisting that temptation that other coaches have fallen into, was a brilliant move, was a great chess move. The Thunder junking it up quickly whenever at the start of this game, like think about when they put Brooks Barnhizer in. Your feeling about this game was, okay, maybe the size is too much. Like maybe Houston's going to really get this one away from Oklahoma City and extend their lead and kind of impose their will physically in this game. And Brooks Barnhizer's the junk curveball in this one, where he plays much bigger than he appears. And so you could tell that Houston had trouble understanding exactly how to attack what they saw from Caruso and Brooks. Whenever Brooks was defending Şengün and Caruso was on KD, those two played catch, at the top of the key over and over again, and it ended a possession in the 3 minutes that Brooks played. And those little stolen possessions along the way, those little chess matches add up to what you saw tonight, which was a double overtime thriller in a game that had the thinnest of margins, and somebody had to win and somebody had to lose. But this would absolutely be a fantastic 7-game series. And you couldn't have dreamed of a better start to the NBA season. You couldn't have dreamed of a better start for their renewed relationship with NBC, which from what I've heard and seen on social media, like it seems like NBC knocked it out of the park once the game got rolling and how they talked about and how they presented the game. And so if there's anyone who's been on the fence about watching NBA basketball or coming back to the game, who might have left the game during certain points of this recent modern era, like this was a great sales pitch for the league. And they got it right. Because again, if you only cared about the drama, there was plenty of it.
Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's a 401k or properties or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. I linked all my accounts to Monarch and immediately spotted a few subscriptions I wasn't even using. Canceling those all can save you money every month. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNFL.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
Warriors winners, 119-109. Luka did his part for the Lakers. They were missing LeBron James. The Warriors, outside of Moses Moody, had everyone. We know D'Anthony Melton obviously is out longer term, but Moses Moody missed the game. The two dudes that were questionable, Jonathan Kuminga and Jimmy Butler, they didn't play like they had anything in question. Both of them awesome. I mean, Kuminga could be the lead story. He was so damn good. But let's start with the fact that the Warriors win it by 10 and Jimmy Butler leads the way pretty much from start to finish. 31 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Got to the line 16 times. So for those of you that were saying, watching the Oklahoma City-Houston game, going to double OT, pulling out your hair saying, damn it, I'm not downloading Peacock. I just want to watch this game. Quit going to the line, Shay. Quit going to the line, foul merchant. Jimmy has done quite a good job of getting to the charity stripe and did an amazing job today of knocking down all 16. I mean, that's impressive. Welcome to the show, Kolsky. Welcome to the season.
Thanks, buddy. I'm so happy we're finally here. God, it feels like it took forever. Maybe I am a Jimmy homer because I've been a Jimmy Butler guy since he was the last pick of the first round for the Chicago Bulls so many years ago. But I feel like he's up to less shenanigans drawing those fouls than a lot of these dudes. I'm not going to name any other names, but he just kind of creates contact, pump fakes, and guys foul him. He gets hit. I don't see a lot of these free throw attempts where I'm thinking, boy, Jimmy really got over on him there. Like he's playing a game that is creating contact, and it's the stable force thing for me. That's what those free throws represent. In the moments when the Warriors start to get out of control, they always had Steph Curry, but the thing about Steph is like there's a chaos to what he does, right? A Curry flurry is the greatest thing in the world, but it's not exactly slowing the game down and reining it in. So finally, the Warriors have this incredible stabilizing force that more often than not, if things are getting a little out of control, you can give Jimmy the ball and he will get to the line and likely hit those free throws. It is such an incredible gift to have. And I think especially if, Kuminga plays like he did tonight and takes some of the, defending the best wing and running the offense off of Jimmy's plate, that's going to just make it that much easier for Jimmy to give you what he gave you tonight offensively. Because I think down the stretch last year, it got to be a lot to ask of an older guy, having Jimmy as sort of a lead defender and a lead offensive player. But boy, the Kuminga part, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 turnovers.
We'll do a deep dive.
We will, but those are the numbers we should look at right away for Kuminga every night, because those are the things that Steve Kerr is looking at. And if he gets 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 turnovers, he's going to play 30 minutes a night, period.
Yeah, and he looked physical tonight. Jimmy, always physical. He's strong as a freaking ox, man. Yeah. And he's getting paid a lot of money to be one of the faces of this league. We assume that he's not, because, the Locked On list came out, and he was, 29th on our list, 29th best player in the league. You cannot tell me after a performance like tonight, and he doesn't do this every night. If he had this kind of outing every single night, he wouldn't be 29th. But he picks his spots. But when he puts up performances like he did tonight, you can't tell me he's not one of the 15, 20 best players in this entire league. and a dude that should be flirting with an all-star appearance this year. Like, he's still got it. He's so smart, sets hard screens. His hands are everywhere. I mean, I'd love to see the deflections chart. It just seems like he's always in the right spots. He always makes the right pass. He's sitting there waiting for Curry to back cut. Curry back cuts. He finds him with a perfect bounce pass. He just does the right things consistently every single day, man. He had 1 turnover and 4 assists and 31 points. I mean, good God.
He really played an awesome game. The sort of game, and don't think Jimmy isn't thinking of this, but the sort of game in a season opener where literally everybody watching goes, okay, so that's why you give up all those assets and pay him all that money. Like, that's why right there. He showed it to you. And like you said, he's not going to show it to you 80 times this year, but you hope that he shows it at the right times and enough of the time to put this team in a position it wants to be in at the end of the season. And man, pretty much everybody you would have wanted to make a statement tonight did. Yeah,
in flurries too. It was sequences. You had the Buddy Hield sequence in the third where he just got unconscious and knocked down, how many threes was it? Knocked down 5 threes. It felt like in a span of 2 minutes. You had the Kuminga quarter where he hit 3 or 4 threes.
Yeah, I think he had 11 points in the third quarter, something like that. Hit
3 threes. 3 threes in the third, and he was shooting them confidently. Kuminga was awesome, and then Curry hits a night on with Noah Eagle on the call. Yeah, I thought we were back in France. You know, it was a ridiculous shot that went in.
Did you see Guy was the one who actually gave the night sign for Steph tonight, but there was a definite night.
Can't wait for the first nightmare we get from Draymond this season. Yeah. Probably when he throws one down on Gobert again. So
I'll tell you what, there were some moments tonight. Speaking of Draymond, who he had a big 20, 3. And he was plus 20, hit a big 3, but I didn't think he even had his best game. Like, there's a lot more Draymond can do on any given night than what he did tonight. But there were some moments where it looked like this game was going to slip out of control. I mean, Draymond almost lost it early, although
a technical from the bench.
My eye roll is as much for the referees there as it is for Draymond. I mean, Draymond,
let him
stop
play,
it,
refs.
but also, come on, dude, get over yourself.
And then they gave one to Vando for pushing Draymond.
Well, that was ridiculous, right? And Jared Vanderbilt knows what he's doing, and he gave it a shot, and it didn't work. But hey, if you can't get Draymond thrown out shortly after halftime, it seems like a good idea for the opposing team. But just in general tonight, Marcus Smart mucked up the game. Like, there were any number of moments where the Warriors were given the opportunity to not be the type of team they want to be, right? To not grab the reins when things are slipping out of control, to not show composure when they need to. And they kind of answered the bell at every one of those turns. Now, it's one night. Congratulations. You're playing again on Thursday. But much like we said several times in the preseason, it continues to look really, really, really good. Like, all the things, looking at the roster on paper, all the things that you would have wanted to see, for the most part, you're seeing. I mean, Al Horford was terrible, but you assume he'll come around as the season comes along. And I think for him, it's also going to be about getting used to playing this kind of more reserve role than he's used to. But boy, Kuminga did exactly what you'd want in the starting lineup. Steph had enough moments to prove to you he is still very much Steph Curry. Butler was awesome. The defense overall was just very good. It's a little weird to say that when Luka was 17 of 27, but holy moly, that guy is just really something special. What are you going to do? He's Luka Doncic for a reason. Otherwise, I thought the defense was in the right places. Like you said, hands everywhere, forced a good number of turnovers, more early than late. But yeah, and I think this could have looked even better if they hadn't completely let go of the rope in the middle of the fourth quarter.
And the NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for the weekend with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits how I like to bet in the moment. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It's quick, it's easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
They had so many chances to win this game, man. and the very first one comes at the end of regulation. A regulation period where it really didn't feel like the guy that was brought in to be the go-to bucket getter in crunch time, to be the closer, really wasn't operating like the closer, and yet the Rockets were still in prime position to be able to win this game. Kevin Durant gets sent to the free throw line with a chance to put them up 3, give them ample breathing room at the end of the fourth quarter, at the end of regulation, and goes 1 for 2 at the free throw line. KD, a career like 90% free throw shooter, goes 1 for 2 at the line at the end of the game, and allows the opportunity for the Thunder, allows for SGA to come back down on the other end and, pop a midi, tie things up, force OT. This game felt look, I'm not going to pretend to know KD's entire body of work. This did not feel like the KD that we thought we were going to be getting in a Rockets jersey, the KD that was supposed to be able to take over and be guaranteed buckets at the end of a game. Don't know if it was the physicality of the OKC defense. Don't know if it was him just trying to defer and empower Alperen Sengun and let him be the guy. I don't know what it was, but this was not what I thought we would be getting out of KD.
Yeah, I say KD's first game as a Rocket was disappointing, to say the least. I think the physicality really has historically bothered Kevin Durant. But tonight, I thought it bothered him in a whole nother way. I thought it took him out of the game offensively for large stretches, right? And, some people would say, hey, we weren't looking. We didn't draw up creative enough sets to get Kevin Durant involved. Well, this team doesn't have a point guard. Alperen Sengun is literally dribbling the ball up the court because this is point guard by committee. And Kevin Durant's inability to participate in that, there was often times where we just needed Kevin Durant to bring the ball up, and I thought he shied away from it. It's these are the things that you have to pitch in when we're doing this by committee. And I thought I learned a lot about Kevin Durant's weaknesses today. You know what I mean? And if he's not perfectly set up, he really gets into these situations. The physicality, not allowing him to dribble the ball up, the physicality really, I thought, hurt him tonight. His inability to properly seal Lugan's door, right? There was a Reed Shepherd turnover down the stretch of the game, but this was actually happening all game during the dribble handoffs. These guys are being playoff level physicality. Those simple actions that you typically use to get guys open, they're not happening anymore, right? When Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is making his plays, he's getting you at the top of the key. He may get one screen, but he's the primary ball handling, because all that dribble handoff, all of those initiating, once you get past the half court, the defenses are locked in on that. And you have to have this other portion of the game where you are able to bring the ball up and create a bucket or create a play for someone else to get other guys involved or to get your own shot. Kevin Durant struggled in the first half of this game, just kicking it out to shooters, just simple kickouts to shooters when he got doubled and tripled. These things, to me, are uncharacteristic of Kevin Durant and the resume he has given over the course of his career. So I'm sure they'll be course corrected, but we're still excited to have Kevin Durant. We can't wait till he gets settled and understands what he needs to do. But I think this team was specifically able, or what's the word I'm looking for? Their physicality, the way they play physical defense, is a particularly bad matchup for Kevin Durant. It really is. And so I think we saw the worst of Kevin Durant because he played probably one of the worst matchups he'll see all season.
Which is crazy to say that we saw the worst of Kevin Durant. He still put up 23 points on 9 of 16 shooting. Like, that's kind of the nuts thing. Is like, that's the bar for excellence for KD is so high that when he puts up what would still be considered a fantastic night for most other players, like you're just like, oh, but it left a little bit to be desired, right? Or like, oh, the 4 turnovers or the these moments here and there, or not being able to deliver, in crunch time. And he still had good, like, man, I don't know why we didn't see more 2-man game between KD and Şengün. Like that was so perplexing to me. And just, you would think that those two guys, the way they complement each other, like there was that pick and roll that they ran near the end of, I forget which one it was, which OT it was. It's all kind of blurring together. But like, honestly, you ran that action at the top of the key, and KD was able to get the little pocket pass into LP. He was right there in the middle of the floor, got to the rim. Like those moments, it feels like that should be maybe not fully the bread and butter of the Rockets offense, but those actions between those two guys need to be a lot more prevalent, and more consistent throughout the evening to give the Rockets some consistent, easier offense and to make life easier on both of those guys. Cause you're right. All of the little DHOs for KD around like little Adam screens or like, dancing around with, Reed Shepherd and KD trying to get the switch onto get Lou Dort off of him or whatever. Like, it felt like they had so many wasted possessions trying to, really ineffectively and inefficiently getting the ball to KD. He also didn't hit a single 3-pointer. Like, the team as a whole was awful from beyond the arc. Unless your name was Alperen Şengün, you shot really poorly in this game. And that's going to be an issue that we discover, right? Amin Thompson, 0 for 7. KD 0 for 4. That's probably not going to happen quite as often, but we also know that KD is not a high volume 3-point shooter, right? So you can't rely on Alperen Şengün putting up a career high from 3 every single game. Or maybe he can. Maybe he's just a sniper now. That'd be awesome. But realistically, this team needs to be able to shoot the ball a little bit better from the perimeter. They had so many early possessions, especially in the first half, I felt like, where they did have, they executed, they had good offense, but then it found the ball would find its way into the hands of Amin Thompson in the corner as the open shooter. And it's like, that's a win for the defense, unfortunately. So, finding ways to get away from Amin Thompson being like your release valve as the shooter on offense would be a big thing. Getting more of those actions between KD and Şengün. And look, I do think, it's game 1. And I know that, like, again, we're salty about it. We wanted this win. It would have been fantastic to talk about a win and spoiling banner night for OKC. But this team is going to need time to settle into what they are, is settling into their identity. And you alluded to it already in segment 1, but like especially this matchup against a team that is as handsy and aggressive and physical as the Thunder, it really exposed the weakness that the Rockets have, not having that primary dedicated ball handler, somebody that looks really comfortable running sets, taking care of the basketball, making sure that guys can be put in spots to be successful. Because unfortunately, that isn't who KD is, right? He's never been that guy in his career. He can handle occasionally, and he'll, you put the ball in his hands and let him, get to his ISO bag or whatever. But KD's not generally a guy that you're going to be running the offense through a ton. That's never been him in his entire career, which is why maybe it was a little frustrating when he wasn't, when he didn't really feel like the onus was being put on him to, hey, like, take over the game late. Hey, we need the ball in your hands, because maybe, he was still operating under this idea of like, oh, well, I'm going to come out of the corner. I'm going to curl off a screen and get the, catch the ball at the elbow. And it's like, man, nobody can throw you the pass at the elbow right now. Yeah. You got to come get this. Like there was that one possession at the end of, I think it was the first OT maybe, where Jabari had gotten the defensive rebound, walked the ball up the floor with about, like, it was like less than 20 seconds to go, and he picked up his dribble. And man, I swear, it's like the OKC defense, they're like piranhas. Or they just, the moment you pick up your dribble, they just swarm you. And then it's hands, they're slapping at the ball. And as soon as Jabari picked up his dribble, Reed tried, and like Şengün was trying to find an angle, Şengün wasn't even out there because it was a defensive possession. It was like, I don't know, it was a whole thing. And then KD was just sitting off in the corner, just minding his own business. And I'm like, dude, you're KD, like, go get the ball and then like try and put a shot up, man. It was, there's going to be growing pains. There's going to be a settling in period, right, where these guys get adjusted, where KD gets settled in, and KD and Şengün and Amin all learn how to play off of one another. This was a really promising, really encouraging first game. The fact that there was so much that did kind of go sideways that can be improved upon, and they were still right there with OKC at the very end after 2 OT periods. But And not to mention, man, just the Chris Webber moment, man, that was crazy.
Oh, my God. Lord have mercy.
So for those of you that don't, like, if you were paying attention on the broadcast, right, Kevin Durant got the rebound at the end of the first OT, and it was a few seconds left on the clock, and he tried to call timeout. And you can't do that when you don't have timeouts because that's a technical foul. And I was watching, and I was freaking out because I was like, no, you're going to give them the tech. Like, they're going to win this on a free throw. And credit to the refs, man, because they could have gone back and done some really messed up. They could have been like, "Hey, they
could have."
I mean, yeah, the refs have to actually acknowledge the timeout. But also, shout out to Alperen Şengün, who literally kind of did everything for this team that night. Even the awareness to go to KD and be like, "Bro, we don't have a timeout. Stop! What are you doing?"
Yeah, man. Kevin, man, that was a roller coaster you put Rockets fans through on the first night, but we still believe in you, dog. We're still happy to have you, man. We know it's 1 of 82, and it's gonna be much better games to come. But,
oh man,
yeah, man. Definitely got a good understanding though of like some of KD's weaknesses, and I think when they go back to film, there'll be a lot to improve on, and I think the Rockets will be just fine because honestly, we were leading the entire game. Like the Rockets were firmly in control of this game. Like they were winning this game.
Thunder didn't retake the lead until a couple minutes left in the fourth quarter on that SGA bucket. And the Rockets had led from the midway point of the second quarter. Like they were, it wasn't like a wire to wire, control of the game kind of thing. But it very much felt like there were so many moments where they shot themselves in the foot. They had chances. They had the KD free throw. Maybe you look at they could have drawn up a better play at the end of regulation than whatever that BS was that LP got stuck with, where he turned around and tried to throw up a prayer at the rim. That was I'm not even going to hold that one against LP. That was just a bad draw for an inbounds play. Like you've got KD, you've got him in Thompson, you've got weapons. I was thinking we were going to get like a little like double drag screen action to try to free up KD on the perimeter and then have Amin Thompson roll towards the rim. And then you could, if he's free, throw the backdoor lob to Amin at the rim. If KD's free, get it out to him and let him, take a one dribble pull up, something like that. There's going to be a lot for Ime to work on too for the offense, right? Because there were sticky spots with the offense, and a lot of this is going to be a work in progress, but still a very encouraging game one.